Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Voice Theater's live stream reading of Arthur Miller's adaptation of Henrik Ibsen's play, An Enemy of the People. I'm Shauna Cantor, Artistic Director of Voice Theater, and tonight we're partnering with Family of Woodstock. Family provides shelter and services, many services, for those in need. So please consider donating via the Voice Theater PayPal account. The link is in the email you received, or you can scroll down below your video right now and you'll find all the information there. We'll get the donation over to the good folks at Family so they can continue to help those in need. And now I would like to introduce you to your host for the evening, Mr. Wellgood. What? Is Mr. Wellgood here? Oh, God. Just a moment, everyone. Just a moment. Mr. Wellgood seems to, he has a lot on his plate. We'll just wait a moment. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, good. Okay, he's just getting on. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is Mr. Wellgood.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for my late arrival. So here we are. It is evening in Dr. Stockman's and his wife Catherine's cheerfully furnished living room. We are in a small town in Norway. It is 1882. Billing and Morten Keel are eating. Billing is junior editor of the People's Daily Messenger, a local newspaper, sometimes radical, whatever its truth means, and Morten Keel is Catherine's stepfather and a businessman of, well, questionable morals and actions.
You sure eat fast, Mr. Keel.
Eating don't get you anywhere, boy. Tell my daughter I went home.
Father, you're not going, are you?
Got business to tend to.
Oh, you're not going back to your room. You're going back to your room, and you know it. Stay, Mr. Billings here, and Hofstad's coming. It'll be
Got
interesting.
all kinds of business. The only reason I came over was the butcher told me you bought roast beef today. Very tasty, dear.
Oh, why don't you wait for Tom? He only went for a little walk.
You think he'd mind if I filled my pipe?
Oh, no, go ahead. And take some apples. You should always put some fruit in your room.
No. I wouldn't think of it.
Yeah. That must be Hofstad. Peter, well, this is a surprise.
I was just passing by. Mr. Keel.
Your Honor.
You mustn't mind him, Peter. He's getting terribly old. Would you like a bite to eat?
No, thanks.
Okay. Well, he just happened to drop in.
That's all right. I can't take hot food in the evening, not with my stomach.
Can't I ever get you to eat anything in this house?
Bless you, I stick to my tea and toast. Much healthier and more economical.
Well, you sound as though Tom and I throw money out the window.
Not you, Catherine. He wouldn't be home, would he?
Oh, he just went for a little walk with the girls.
You don't think that's dangerous? Right after dinner? That sounds like my brother.
I doubt it so soon. Come in, please. Ah, Mr. Hofstad.
Sorry I'm late. I was held up at the printing shop. Good evening, Your Honor.
Hofstad? On business, no doubt?
Partly. It's about an article for the paper.
Huh, I don't doubt it. I understand my brother has become a prolific contributor to, what do you call it, the People's Daily Liberator?
The People's Daily Messenger, sir.
Hmm.
The doctor sometimes honors the messenger when he wants to uncover the real truth of some subject.
The truth? Oh, yes, yes, I see.
Would you like to have something to...
I don't want you to think that I blame the doctor for using your paper. After all, every performer goes for the audience that applauds him most. It's really not your paper that I have anything against, Mr.
Oh,
Hofstad.
I really didn't think so, Your Honor.
As a matter of fact, I happen to admire the spirit of tolerance in this town. It's magnificent. Just don't forget that we have it because we all believe in the same thing. It brings us together.
Kirsten Springs, you mean?
The springs, Mr. Hofstad, our wonderful new springs. They change the soul of this town. Mark my words. Kirsten Springs are going to put us on the map, and there is no question about it.
And that's what Tom says, too.
Everything is shooting ahead, real estate going up, money changing hands every hour, business humming.
And no more unemployment.
Right. Give us a really good summer, and sick people will be coming here in carloads. The springs will turn into a regular fad, a new Carlsbad. And for once, the well-to-do people won't be the only ones paying taxes in this town.
I hear reservations are really starting to come in.
Coming in every day. Looks very promising, very promising.
Well, that's fine. Then the doctor's article will come in handy.
He's written something else again?
No, it's the piece he wrote at the beginning of the winter, recommending the water. But, at the time I let the article lie.
Why, some hitch in it?
Oh, no, I just thought it would have a bigger effect in the spring, when people start planning for the summer.
But that's smart, Mr. Hofstad, very smart.
Yeah, Tom is always so full of ideas about the springs. Every day he talks
Well,
about...
he ought to be. He gets his salary from the springs, my dear.
Oh, I think it's more than that, don't you? After all, Dr. Stockman created Kirsten Springs.
You don't say. I've been hearing that lately, but I did think I had a certain modest part in it.
Tom always says that you...
Oh, I only meant the original idea was his, obviously.
My good brother is never at a loss for ideas, all sorts of ideas. But when it comes to putting them into action, you need another kind of man. And I did think that at least people in this house would realize...
Peter, dear, we didn't mean to... Oh, go get yourself a bite, Mr. Hofstad. My husband will be here any minute.
Thank you. Maybe just a little something.
Isn't it remarkable? Why is it that people without background can never learn tact?
Why let it bother you? Can't you and Thomas share the honor like good brothers?
The trouble is that certain men are never satisfied to share, Catherine.
No, nonsense. You've always gotten along beautifully with Tom. Ah, that must be him now.
Catherine, another guest for you. Here's a hanger for your coat, Captain. That's right. You don't wear overcoats. Girls, come in. You kids must be hungry all over again. Come here, Captain Horster. I want you to get a look at this roast.
Tom, dear.
Oh, Peter. Now this is really nice.
I have to go in a minute.
Nonsense. Now with the toddy on the table. You haven't forgotten the toddy, have you, Catherine?
Oh, of course not. I've got the water boiling.
Toddy, too?
Sure. Sit down. Make yourself at home.
No, thanks. I don't go in for drinking parties.
This is no party.
Well, what else do you call it? It's extraordinary how you people can consume all this food and live.
Why? I mean, what is finer than to watch young people eat, Peter? These are the folks who are going to stir up the whole future.
Is that so? What's there to stir up?
Don't worry. They're going to let us know when the time comes. Old idiots like you and me.
I've
We'll be
never
left
been
behind
told
like-
that before.
Peter, don't jump on me every moment. You know your trouble, Peter. Your impressions are blunted. You ought to sit up there in that crooked corner of the North for 5 years the way I did. And then you come back here. Well, it's like watching the first 7 days of creation.
Here?
Yes, things to work on, things to fight for, Peter. I mean, without that, you're dead. Catherine, you sure the mailman didn't come today?
There wasn't any mail today.
Another thing, Peter. A good income. I mean, that is something you learn to value after you've lived on a starvation diet.
When did you starve?
Damn near. Pretty tough up there. Pretty tough going. Now, to be able to live like a prince. Tonight, for instance, we had roast beef for dinner. And God, there was enough left over for supper, too. Please, have a piece. Come in the dining room.
Oh, no, please, certainly not.
Please come in, let me show it to you. Here, look, we even have a tablecloth.
Yes, I saw it.
Live to the hilt, that's my motto. Anyway, Catherine says, I'm earning almost as much as we spend.
Well, you are improving.
Well, Peter, that was a joke. You are supposed to laugh.
Roast beef twice a day is no joke.
Why can't I give myself the pleasure of having people around me? Necessary for me to see young, lively, happy people, free people, burning with a desire to do something. You'll see. When Hofstede comes, we'll talk.
Oh, yes. Hofstede, that reminds me. He told me he was going to print one of your articles.
One of my articles?
Yes, about the springs, an article you wrote during the winter.
Oh, that one. Well, in the first place, I don't want that one printed now.
No, it sounded to me like it would be very timely.
Well, under normal circumstances, maybe so.
Well, what is abnormal about the conditions now?
Can't say that for the moment, Peter, at least not tonight. There could be a great deal of abnormal about conditions, but, well, then again, it could be nothing at all.
Well, you've managed to make yourself sound very mysterious. Is there anything wrong? Something you're keeping from me? Because I wish once and for a while you'd remind yourself that I am chairman of the board for the Springs.
And I would like you to remember that, Peter. Okay, look, let's not get into each other's hair.
I don't make a habit of getting into people's hair. But I would like to underline that everything concerning Kirsten Springs must be treated in a business-like manner through the proper channels and dealt with by the legally constituted authorities. I won't allow anything done behind my back in a roundabout way.
Did I ever go behind your back, Peter?
You have an ingrained tendency to go your own way, Thomas. And that simply can't go on in a well-organized society. The individual really must subordinate himself to the overall, to the authorities who are in charge of the general welfare.
Well, that is probably so. But why does that concern me, Peter?
My dear Thomas, this is exactly what you will never learn. But you would better watch out, because someday you might pay dearly for it. Now I've said it. Goodbye.
Are you out of your mind? I mean, you're absolutely on the wrong track.
I am usually not. Anyway, may I be excused? Goodbye, Catherine. Good evening, gentlemen.
He left?
Yes, and burned up.
What did you do to him now?
What does he want from me? He can't expect me to give him an accounting of every move I make, every thought I think, until I'm ready to do it.
Why? I mean, why should you give him, what should you give him an accounting of?
Just leave that to me, Catherine. It is peculiar. The mailman didn't come today.
Oh, after a meal. Oh my God, I feel like a new man. This house.
The mayor certainly wasn't in a glowing mood tonight.
Well, it's his stomach. He has a lousy digestion.
I think 2 editors from the People's Daily Messenger didn't help either.
No. Just, Peter's a lonely man, the poor fellow. All he knows is official business and duties, and all that damn weak tea he just pours. Hey, Catherine, can we have that toddy, please?
I'm just getting it.
Here, sit down here on the couch with me, Captain Horster. A rare guest like you. Here, sit down, my friends.
This used to be such an ugly house. Suddenly, it's beautiful.
Great man.
Here you are, gentlemen. Help yourselves.
We sure will. Oh, and cigars, Edgelef. You know where the box is, and Mortana, get my pipe. I have a sneaking suspicion that Edgelef is snishing cigars now and then, but I do not pay any attention. Catherine, you know where I put it? Okay, she's got it. Good kids, help yourself, fellows. I'll stick to my pipe. This pipe has gone through plenty of blizzards with me in the north. Skull. Home.
Oh.
What an invention that is, eh?
Are you sailing soon, Captain Hofstede?
Well, I expect to be ready next week.
And then to America, Captain?
Yes, that's the plan.
Oh, then you won't be home for the new election.
Is there going to be another election?
Didn't you know?
No, I don't get mixed up in those things.
But you are interested in public affairs, aren't you?
Frankly, I don't understand a thing about it.
Neither do I, Captain. Maybe that's why I'm always so glad to see you.
Just the same, you ought to vote, Captain.
Even if I don't understand anything about it?
Understand? What do you mean by that? Society, Captain, is like a ship. Every man should do something to help navigate that ship.
Well, that may be all right on shore, but on board a ship, it doesn't work out so well.
Good evening.
Oh, good evening, Petra.
Great young woman.
And here you are, lying around like lizards while I'm out slaving.
Well, you come and be a lizard too. Come here, Petra, sit down with me. I look at her, I say to myself, how did I do it?
Shall I mix a toddy for you?
No, thanks. I had better do it myself. You always mix it too strong. Oh, Father, I forgot. I have a letter for you.
What? Who's it from?
I met the mailman on the way to school this morning, and he gave me your mail too. I just didn't have time to run it back.
What, and you didn't give it to me until now?
I really didn't have time to run back, Father.
Well, if she didn't have time, you know.
Let's see it. Come on, child. I will be right back. There would be a light on in the room, would there?
The lamp is on the desk, burning away.
Excuse me, gentlemen, for a moment.
What is that, Mother?
I don't know. The last couple of days, he's been asking again and again about the mailman.
Probably an out-of-town patient of his.
Oh, poor Father. He's got too much to do. Now this ought to taste good.
By the way, what happened to that English novel you were going to translate for us?
I started it, but I've gotten so busy.
Oh, teaching evening school again?
2 hours a night.
Plus the high school every day?
Yes, 5 hours and every night a pile of lessons to correct.
She never stops going.
Maybe that's why they always think of you as kind of breathless and, well, breathless.
I love it. I get so wonderfully tired.
Looks tired.
You must be a wicked woman, Petra.
Wicked?
You work so much. My teacher says that work is a punishment for sins.
You believe that?
Edgelef, Of course she believes her teacher.
Don't stop her.
Don't you like to work, Mortena?
Work? No.
And what will you ever amount to in this world?
Me? I'm going to be a Viking.
You can't. You have to be a heathen.
So I'll be a heathen.
I think it's getting late, girl.
I agree with you, Mortena. I think
I
that...
certainly don't, Mr. Billing.
Yes, by God, I do. I am a real heathen and proud of it. You'll see, pretty soon, we're all going to be heathens.
And then we can do anything we want.
Right. You see, Mortena.
Don't you have any homework for tomorrow, girls? Better go in and do it.
Oh, can't we stay here a while?
No, neither of you. Now, run along.
You really think it hurts them to listen to such talk?
Oh, I don't know, but I don't like it.
Boys, there is going to be news in this town.
News.
What kind of news?
A terrific discovery.
Really?
Yes.
That you made?
That I made. Now let the baboons running this town call me a lunatic. They better watch out. Oh my God, how the mighty have fallen.
What is it, Father?
Only if Peter were here now. Now you're going to see human beings can walk around and make judgments like blind rats.
What in the world's happened, Doctor?
It's a general opinion, isn't it, that our town is a sound and a healthy spot.
Of course.
What happened?
Even a rather unusually healthy spot. Oh God, a place that we can recommend to all people, sick people.
But Tom, what are you saying?
And we have recommended it. I myself, I've written and written in the People's Messenger. I've written pamphlets.
Yes,
About miraculous springs that cost such a fortune to build. The whole institute is a pest hole.
Father, the spring?
Our springs?
That's unbelievable.
You know the filth up in the Windmill Valley? That stuff that has been such a stinking smell, it comes down from the tannery up there. That same damn poisonous mess. It comes right into our blessed miraculous water that we're supposed to cure people with.
You mean actually where our beaches are?
Exactly.
How are you so sure about this, Doctor?
I had a suspicion about this a long time ago. There were so many sick cases among the visitors, the typhoid, the gastric disturbances.
Yes, that did happen. I remember Mrs. Svenson's niece.
Yes, dear. And at that time I thought, well, maybe the visitors, maybe they brought the bug. But later this winter, I got a new idea. I started investigating the water.
So that's what you've been working on.
And I sent samples of the water to the university. Exact chemical analysis.
And that's what you have just received.
That's it. And it proves the existence of infectious organic material in that water.
Well, thank God you discovered it in time.
I think we can say that, Catherine.
But isn't it wonderful?
And what do you intend to do now, Doctor?
Well, put things right, of course.
Do you think that can be done?
Maybe. Well, if not, the whole institute is useless. There's nothing to worry about. I'm quite clear on what has to be done.
Yes, but Tom, why did you keep it so secret?
Well, what did you want me to do? I mean, you want me to go out and shout my mouth off before I really knew? You don't realize what this means, Catherine. The whole water system is going to have to be changed.
The whole water system?
The whole water system. The intake is too low. It's got to be raised to a much higher spot. The whole construction, it's going to have to be ripped out.
Well, Father, at least you can prove they should have listened to you.
Ha! She remembers.
That's right. You did warn them.
Of course I warned them. When they started the damn thing, I told them not to build it down there. But who am I? I'm just a scientist to tell politicians where to build the health institute. Well, now they're going to get it with both barrels.
This is tremendous. He is a great man.
This is bigger than tremendous. They'll see. This is it. This is the final proof from the university. Right, on to the board of directors. Catherine, will you get that maid? What's her name?
Randine, dear, Randine.
Okay, well, tell Randine to wipe her nose and go run over to the mayor right now. What is it? What's the matter, dear?
I don't know.
What's Uncle Peter going to say about this?
Now that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, well, what can he say? You ought to be damn glad such an important fact is brought out before we start an epidemic. Now, come on, hurry, dear.
I would like to put a brief item about this discovery in the messenger.
Go ahead. I'd really be grateful for that now.
Because the public ought to know soon.
Right away.
My God, you'll be the leading man in this town, Doctor.
Well, there's nothing to it. I mean, every detective gets a lucky break once in his life, and, just the same.
Hofstad, don't you think the town ought to pay Dr. Stockman some tribute?
Sure, let's put in a word for it, yeah.
I'll talk to Oslaskin about it.
Fellas, no fooling around. I mean, I'm not going to put up with any commotion. Even if the board of directors wanted to give me an increase, I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to take it, Catherine.
That's right, Father.
That's right.
Skål, Father.
Oh, Doctor. Doctor, I hope this brings you great honor and pleasure.
Thank you, friends. Thank you. It's one blessing above all others to have earned the respect of one's neighbors. It's, God, I mean, I think I'm going to dance.
The Stockman's living room. The following morning, Catherine Stockman comes in from the dining room. A sealed letter is in her hand.
Tom.
I just got in. What's up?
From Peter. It just came.
Let's see. I'm returning the report that you just submitted herewith.
Well, what does he say? I mean, don't just stand there.
He says he'll come around this afternoon.
Oh, well, maybe you ought to try to remember to be home then.
Sure, I will be. Oh, God, I'm through with my morning rounds anyway.
I'm dying to see how he's going to take it.
Well, is there any doubt? I mean, he'll probably make it look like he made the discovery, not I.
Yeah, but aren't you a little afraid of that?
Well, underneath it, he'll be happy, Catherine. Just that Peter is so afraid that somebody else is going to get credit for the good in this town.
Yeah, but I wish you'd go out of your way and share the honors with him. I mean, couldn't we say that he put you on the right track or something?
I don't mind that, as long as it makes everybody happy.
Is it really true?
Father.
Well, good morning.
It better be true or I'm going.
What had better be true?
This crazy story about the water system. Is it true?
Of course it's true. I mean, how did you find out about it?
Petra came flying by on her way to school this morning.
She did?
I thought she was trying to make a fool out of me.
Now, why would she do that?
Nothing gives more pleasure to young people than to make fools out of old people. But is this as true? Yes?
Yes, of course it's true. Now sit down. You're pretty lucky for the town, eh?
Lucky for the town!
I mean, that I made the discovery before it was too late.
Tom, I never thought you had the imagination to pull your own brother's leg like this.
Pull his leg?
But Father, he's not pulling.
How does it go now? Let me get this straight. There's some kind of little cockroaches in the pipes.
They're not cockroaches.
Well, some kind of little animals.
Bacteria, Father.
Ah, but a whole mess of them, eh?
Oh, yeah, so there'd be millions and millions.
And nobody can see them but you. Is that it?
Well, yes. Well, of course, anybody with a microscope. Well, what the hell are you laughing at?
You don't understand, Father. Nobody can actually see bacteria.
Oh, good girl. You stick with him. By God, this is the best. Oh, the best thing I ever heard in my life.
What do you mean?
But tell me, you think you're actually going to get your brother to believe this?
Well, we'll see soon enough.
You really think he's that crazy?
I hope the town will be that crazy, boy.
Yeah, they probably are, and it'll serve them right, too. They think they're so much smarter than us old-timers. Your good brother ordered them to bounce me out of the council, so they chased me out like a dog. Make jackasses out of all of them, Stockman.
Yes, okay, but Morton...
Long-eared, short-tailed jackasses, Stockman. If you can make the mayor of this elegant friends grab at this bait, I will give a couple of 100 crowns to charity right now, right on the spot.
Well, that would be very kind of you, Morton, but
I haven't got much to play around with, but if you can pull the rug out from under him with this cockroach business, I'll give at least 50 crowns to some poor people on Christmas Eve. Maybe this will teach them to put some brains back in town hall.
Good morning. Oh, pardon me.
Oh, is this one in on it too?
What's that, sir?
well, of course, he's in on it.
Couldn't I have guessed that? It's going to be in the papers, I suppose. You're sure tying down the corners, aren't you? Well, lay it on thick. I've got to go.
Listen, why don't you stay a while and just let me explain.
Oh, I get it. Don't worry. You can see them, huh? That's the best Damn it! It's the best idea I've ever. You shouldn't do this for nothing.
Father, you don't understand about bacteria.
That old badger, he doesn't believe a word of it.
What does he think you're doing?
Making an idiot out of my brother, imagine that.
You got a few minutes?
Sure. Long as
Have you heard from the mayor?
Well, only that he's coming over later.
I've been thinking about this since last night.
Really?
For you, as a medical man, a scientist, this is a really rare opportunity. But I've been wondering if you realize that it ties in with a lot of other things.
How do you mean? I mean, what are you driving at?
You said last night that the pollution comes from impurities in the ground.
It comes from the poisonous dumps up in Mineral Valley.
Doctor, I think it comes from an entirely different dump.
What do you mean?
The same dump that is poisoning and polluting our whole social life in this town.
For God's sake, Hofstede, what are you babbling about?
Everything that matters in this town has fallen into the hands of a few bureaucrats.
Well, look, they're not all bureaucrats.
They're all rich, all with old reputable names, and they've got everything in the palm of their hands.
Yeah, well, they also happen to have ability and knowledge.
Did they show ability and knowledge when they built the water system where they did?
No, of course not. But, well, you know, that happens to be a blunder, and we're going to clear that up now.
You really imagine it's going to be as easy as all that?
Easy or not easy, it's got to be done.
Doctor, I've made up my mind to give this whole scandal very special treatment.
Wait. Don't call it a scandal yet.
Doctor, when I took over the People's Messenger, I swore I'd blow that smug cabal of old, stubborn, self-satisfied fogies to bits. This is the story that can do that.
Well, I think that we owe them a deep debt of gratitude for building the springs in the first place.
Mayor being your brother, I wouldn't ordinarily want to touch it. But I know you never let that kind of thing obstruct the truth.
No, of course not. But, you know...
I want you to understand me. I want you. I don't have to tell you I come from a simple family. I know in my bones what the underdog needs. He's got to have a say in the government of society. That's what brings out ability, intelligence, and self-respect in people.
I understand that. I do.
I think a newspaper man who turns down any chance to give the underdog a lift is taking on a responsibility that I don't want. I know perfectly well that in fancy circles they call it agitation. And they can call it anything they like if it makes them happy. But I have my own conscience.
Look, I agree with you, Hofstede. But this is just about the water supply, and damn it, come in.
Oh, I beg your pardon, Doctor, if I am intruding.
Are you looking for me, Mr. Islakson?
No, I didn't know you were here. I want to see the doctor.
What can I do for you?
Is it true, Doctor, what I hear from Mr. Billing, that you intend to campaign for a better water system?
Yes, for the Institute. It's not a campaign.
I just wanted to call and tell you that we are behind you 100%.
There you see.
Mr. Islakson, I thank you with all my heart. But
we can be important, Doctor. When the little businessman wants to push something through, he turns out to be the majority, you know. And it's always good to have the majority on your side.
Well, that is certainly true. But I don't really understand what this is all about. It seems to me it is a simple, straightforward business. The water supply has got to be...
Of course, we intend to behave with moderation, Doctor. I always try to be a moderate and careful man.
You are known for that, Mr. Islaxton.
The water system is very important to us little businessmen, Doctor. Kirsten Springs are becoming a gold mine for this town, especially for the property owners. And that is why, in my capacity as chairman of the Property Owners Association,
Yes.
and furthermore, as representative of the Temperance Society, you probably know, Doctor, that I am active for prohibition.
I have heard.
As a result, I come into contact with all kinds of people, and since I am known to be a law-abiding and solid citizen, I have a certain influence in this town. You might even call it a little power.
I know that very well, Mr. Islaxton.
Yes, that's why you can see that it would be practically nothing for me to arrange a demonstration.
A demonstration? What are we going to demonstrate about?
The citizens of the town complimenting you for bringing this important matter to everybody's attention. Obviously, it would have to be done with the utmost moderation, so not to hurt the authorities.
This could knock the big bellies right into the garbage can.
No indiscretion or extreme aggressiveness towards the authorities, Mr. Hofstede. I don't want any wild-eyed radicalism on this thing. I've had enough of that in my time, and no good ever comes of it. But for a good, solid citizen to express his calm, frank, and free opinion is something nobody can deny.
My dear Mr. Islaxton, I cannot tell you how it heartens me to hear this kind of support. I am happy. I am. I'm happy. Listen, wouldn't you like a glass of sherry?
I am a member of the Temperance Society.
I know, but how about a glass of beer?
I don't think I can go quite that far, Doctor. I never take anything. Well, a good day, and I want you to remember, the little man is behind you like a wall.
Thank you.
You have the solid majority on your side, because when the little businessman starts to go for it, well, and
that, Mr. Islaxton, and good day.
Are you going back to the printing shop, Mr. Hofstede?
I just have a thing or two to attend to here.
Okay, very well.
Well, what do you say to a little hypodermic for these fence-sitting deadheads?
I think Islaxton is a very sincere man.
Isn't it time we pump some guts into these well-intentioned men of goodwill? Under all their liberal talk, they still idolize authority. And that's got to be rooted out of this town. This blunder of the water system has to be made clear to every voter. Let me print your report.
Not until I talk to my brother.
I'll write an editorial in the meantime. And if the mayor won't go along with it, then, we'll just do it.
How can you imagine such a thing?
Believe me, Doctor, it's possible. And then...
Listen, I promise you, he'll go along, and then you print my report. Every word of it.
On your word of honor.
Look, here it is. Take it. Can't do any harm for you to read it. Return it to me later.
Good day, Doctor.
Good day. You'll see. It's going to be easier than you think, Hofstede.
I hope so, Doctor. Sincerely. Let me know as soon as you hear from His Honor.
Catherine. Petra, you're home already.
I just got back from school.
Hasn't he been here yet?
Peter, no. I just had a long chat with Hofstede. He's fascinated by my discovery, and you know what? It has more implications than I thought at first. You know what I have backing me up, Catherine?
What in heaven's name have you got backing you up?
A solid majority, the solid majority.
Is that good?
Good, it's wonderful. You can't imagine the feeling, Catherine. You know that your own town feels like a brother to you. I've been also at home in this town since I was a boy.
Oh, that must be the front door.
Oh, it's Peter. Come in.
Good morning.
Nice to see you, Peter.
Good morning. How are you today?
Well, so. I received your thesis about the condition of the springs yesterday.
I got your note. Did you read it?
I read it.
Well, what do you have to say?
Come on, Petra.
Thomas, Was it really necessary to go into this investigation behind my back?
Yes. I mean, until I convinced myself, there was no point in...
And now you are convinced.
Certainly. Aren't you too, Peter? The university chemist corroborated.
You intend to present this document to the board of directors officially as the medical officer of the Springs?
So something's got to be done, and quick.
You always use such strong expressions, Peter. Among other things, in your report, you say that we guarantee our guests and visitors a permanent case of poisoning.
Peter, how can it be described any other way? Imagine poisoned internally and externally.
So you merrily conclude that we must build a waste disposal plant and reconstruct a brand new water system from the bottom up.
Well, you know some other way out? I don't.
I took a little walk over to the city engineer this morning, and in the course of our conversation, I sort of jokingly mentioned these changes as something we might consider for the future, you know.
The future won't be soon enough, Peter.
The engineer kind of smiled at my extravagance, and he gave me a few facts. I don't suppose you've taken the trouble to consider what your proposed changes would cost.
No, I never thought of that.
Oh, naturally. Your little project would come to at least 300,000 crowns.
That expensive?
Oh, don't look so upset. It's only money. The worst thing is that it would take some 2 years.
2 years?
At the least. And what do you propose we do about the springs in the meantime? Shut them up, no doubt. Because we would have to, you know. As soon as a rumor gets around that the water is dangerous, we won't have a visitor left. So that's the picture, Thomas. You have it in your power to literally ruin your own town.
Well, look, Peter, I don't want to ruin anything.
Kirsten Springs are the blood supply of this town, Thomas. The only future we've got here. Now, will you stop and think?
Good God. What do you think we ought to do?
Your report has not convinced me that the conditions are as dangerous as you try to make them.
Oh, listen, they're even worse than the report makes them out to be. Remember, summer's coming and warm weather.
I think you're exaggerating. A capable physician ought to know what precautions to take.
And then what?
The existing water supply for the springs is a fact, Thomas, and has got to be treated as a fact. If you are reasonable and act with discretion, the directors of the Institute will be inclined to take under consideration any means to make possible improvements reasonably and without any financial sacrifices.
Peter, do you imagine I would ever agree to such trickery?
Trickery?
Yes, it's a trick, a fraud, a lie, a treachery, a downright crime against the public and the whole community.
I said before that I am not convinced that there is any actual danger.
You aren't? Anything else is impossible. My report, that's an absolute fact. The only trouble is that you and your administration were the ones who insisted that the water supply be built where it is. And now you're afraid to admit the blunder you committed. Damn it. Don't you think I can see through this at all?
All right. Let's suppose that that's true. Maybe I do care a little about my reputation. But I still say I do it for the good of the town. Without moral authority, there can be no government. And that is why, Thomas, it is my duty to prevent your report from reaching the board. Sometime later, I will bring up the matter for discussion. In the meantime, not a single word is to reach the public.
Oh, my dear Peter, and do you imagine that you can prevent that?
It will be prevented.
It can't be. There are too many people who already know about it.
Who? Who? But it can't possibly be those people from the Daily Messenger who...
Exactly. The liberal, free, independent press will stand up and do its duty.
You are an unbelievably irresponsible man, Thomas. Can't you imagine what consequences that is going to have for you?
Me?
Yes, for you and for your family.
What the hell are you saying now?
I believe I have the right to think of myself as a helpful brother, Thomas.
You have been. Thank you deeply for it.
Yeah, don't mention it. I often couldn't help myself. I had hoped that by improving your finances, I would be able to keep you from running completely hog wild.
You mean it was only for your own sake?
Partly, yes. What do you imagine people think of an official whose closest relatives get themselves into trouble time and time again?
And that's what I've done?
You do it without even knowing it. You're like a man with an automatic brain. As soon as an idea breaks into your head, no matter how idiotic it might be, you get up like a sleepwalker and start writing a pamphlet about it.
Peter, don't you think it is a citizen's duty to share new ideas with the public?
The public doesn't need new ideas. The public is much better off with the old ideas.
You're not even embarrassed to say that.
Now look. I'm going to lay this out once and for all. You're always barking about authority. If a man gives you an order, he's persecuting you. Nothing is important enough to respect once you decide to revolt against your superiors. All right, then. All right. I give up. I'm not going to try to change you anymore. I told you the stakes you're playing with here. And now I am going to give you an order. And I warn you, you had better obey it if you value your career.
What kind of an order?
You are going to deny those rumors officially.
How? Huh?
Simply say you went into the examination of the water more thoroughly and you find that you overestimated the danger.
I see.
And that you have complete confidence that whatever improvements are needed, the management will certainly take care of them.
My convictions come from the condition of the water. My convictions will change when the water changes, and for no other reason.
What are you talking about, convictions? You're an official. You keep your convictions to yourself.
Myself, eh?
As an official, I said. God knows, as a private person, that's something else. But as a subordinate employee of the Institute, you have no right to express any convictions or personal opinions about anything connected with policy.
Now you, listen to me. I am a doctor and a scientist.
This has nothing to do with science.
Peter, I have a right to express my opinion on anything in the world.
Not about the Institute. That I forbid.
You forbid.
I forbid you as your supervisor. And when I give orders, you obey.
If you weren't my brother.
Father, you are not going to stand for this.
Petra.
What have you two been doing? Eavesdropping?
You were talking so loud, we couldn't help.
Yes, I was eavesdropping.
Oh, that makes me very happy.
You said something to me about forbidding.
You forced me to.
So you want to spit in my own, you want me to spit in my own face officially. That it?
Why must you always be so colorful?
And if I don't obey?
Then we will publish our own statement to calm the public.
Good enough. And I will write against you, and I will stick to what I say, and I will prove to you that I am right, and that you are wrong. And what are you going to do then?
And I simply won't be able to prevent your dismissal.
What?
Father.
Dismissed from the Institute is what I said. If you want to make war on Kirsten Springs, you have no right to be on the board of directors.
You dare to do that?
Oh, no. No, you're the daring man.
Uncle, this is a rotten way to treat a man like my father.
Will you be quiet, Petra?
So young and you have opinions already. But that's natural. Catherine, dear, you're probably the only sane person in this house. Knock some sense into his head, will you? Make him realize that what he's driving his whole family into.
My family concerns nobody but myself.
His family and his whole town.
I am going to show you who loves this town. The people. The people are going to get the full stink of this corruption, Peter. And then we're going to see who loves this town.
You love your town when you blindly, spitefully, stubbornly go ahead to try to cut off our most important industry.
The source is poison, man. We're getting fat by peddling filth and corruption to innocent people.
I think this is going beyond opinions and convictions, Thomas. A man who can throw that kind of insinuation around is nothing but a traitor to society.
How dare you?
Tom!
Be careful, Father.
I won't expose myself to violence. You have been warned. Consider what you owe yourself and your family. Good day.
He's insulted. He's insulted.
It's shameful, Tom.
Oh, I would love to give him a piece of my mind.
My own fault. I should have thrown my teeth right from the beginning. He called me a traitor to society. Me, damn it all. It's not going to stick.
Oh, please think. I mean, he's got the power on his side.
Yeah, but I've got the truth on mine.
Without power, what good is the truth?
Mother, how can you say such a thing?
That is ridiculous, Catherine. I have a liberal press with me and the majority. And if that isn't power, what is?
But for heaven's sake, Tom, you aren't going to do this.
What I'm not going to do? What am I not going to do?
You aren't going to fight it out in public with your brother.
What the hell else do you want me to do?
But it won't do you any earthly good. If they won't do it, they won't. And all you'll get out of it is a notice that you're fired.
I am going to do my duty, Catherine. That man called me a traitor to society.
And how about your duty toward your family, the people you're supposed to provide for?
Don't always think of us first, Mother.
Oh, you can talk. When it comes to the worst, you can manage yourself. But what about the girls, Tom? What about you and me?
What about you? What, you want me to be a miserable animal who crawl up the boots of that damn gang? Will you be happy if I can't face myself the rest of my life?
Tom, there's so much injustice in the world. You've simply got to learn to live with it. Now, if you go on in this way, God help us, we'll have no money again. You know, it's a long time since the North. Have you forgotten what it was like to live like we lived? Haven't we had enough of this for one lifetime? And what will happen to them? We've got nothing if you're fired.
Okay, stop it. Girls, what did you learn in school today?
We learned what an insect is.
Oh, interesting.
What happened? Why is everybody so...
Nothing. You know what I'm going to do, girls? From now on, I'm going to teach you what it means to be a person in society, in a town, in a country.
The editorial office of the People's Daily Messenger. It's dingy and cheerless. The furniture is shabby. It hasn't been cleaned since who knows. I wouldn't be caught dead or living in a place like that. Although certain circumstances and loss of face and some position render unfortunate choices. I keep telling everyone if they just drank beer, we wouldn't need to drink water. We wouldn't have any water problems.
The doctor not come yet?
No, not yet. You finish it? Well, what do you think of it?
It's devastating. The doctor is a brilliant man. I swear I myself never really understood how incompetent those fat fellows are on top. I hear the rumble of revolution in this.
Shh. Asloxen's inside.
Asloxen is a coward. With all that moderation talk, all he's saying is he's yellow. You're going to print this, aren't you?
Sure. I'm just waiting for the doctor to give the word. If his brother hasn't given in, we put it on the press anyway.
Yes, but if the mayor's against this, it's going to get pretty rough. You know that, don't you?
Just let him try to block the reconstruction. The little businessman, the whole town will be screaming for his head. Asloxen will see to that.
The stockholders will have to lay out a fortune of money if this goes through.
My boy, I think it's going to bust them. And when the springs go busted, the people are finally going to understand the level of genius that's been running this town. Those 5 sheets of paper are going to put in a liberal administration once and for all.
It's a revolution. You know that? With hope and fear, I mean it. We're on the edge of a real revolution.
Put it on the press.
Wonderful. What did the mayor say?
Well, the mayor has declared war. The war is what he's going to get. This is only the beginning. You know what he tried to do?
Mr. Asloxen, the doctor's here.
He actually tried to blackmail me. He got the nerve to tell me I'm not allowed to speak my mind without his permission. Imagine the shameless effrontery of that guy.
He actually said it right out.
Right to my face. The trouble with me is I keep giving them credit for being our kind of people, but they're dictators. People who try to hold power, even if they have to poison this town to do it.
Now take it easy, Doctor. You mustn't always be throwing accusations. I'm with you, you understand, but moderation is the way I live my life.
What did you think of the article, Hofstad?
It's a masterpiece. In one blow, you've managed to prove beyond any doubt what kind of men are running us.
May we print it now, then?
I should say so.
We'll have it ready for tomorrow's paper.
And listen, Mr. Sloskin, do me a favor, will you? You run a fine paper, but supervise the printing personally, all right? I may hate to see the weather report stuck in the middle of my article.
Don't worry. That won't happen this time.
Make it perfect, okay? Like you're printing money. I cannot imagine how I am dying to see this in print. After all the lies in the papers, the half lies, the quarter lies, to finally see the absolute unvarnished truth about something important. This is only the beginning. We'll go to other subjects. We'll blow up every lie they live by. What do you say, Asloxen?
But just remember...
Moderation!
Moderation!
I don't know what's so funny about that.
Dr. Stockman, I feel as though we're standing in some historic painting. God damn it, this is a historic day. Someday, this will be a scene in a museum entitled The Day the Truth Was Born.
Oh, I've got a patient half bandaged down the street. Bandaged down the street. I'll be back.
I hope you realize how useful it could be to us.
I don't like that business about this is only the beginning. Let him stick to the springs.
What makes you so scared all the time?
I have to live here. It'd be different if he were attacking the national government or something, but if he thinks I'm going to start going after the whole town administration...
What's the difference? Bad is bad.
Yes, but there is a difference. You attack the national government, what's going to happen? Nothing. But a town administration, they're liable to be overthrown or something. I represent the small business owners in this town.
It's always the same. Give a man a little property and the truth can go to hell.
Mr. Billing, I am older than you are. I've seen fire eaters before. You know who used to work at that desk before you? Councilman Stensford. Councilman!
Just because I work at a renegade's desk, does that mean that I...
You're a politician. A politician never knows where he's going to end up. And besides, you applied for a job as secretary to the magistrate, didn't you?
Billing?
Well, why not? If I get it, I'll have a chance to put across some good things. I could put plenty of big boys on the spot with a job like that.
All right, I'm just saying, people change. Just remember, when you call me a coward, I may not have made the hot speeches, but I never went back on my beliefs either. And like some of the big radicals around here, I didn't change. Of course, I'm a little more moderate, but moderation is...
Oh, God!
I don't see what's so funny about that.
We could get rid of him.
Hey, take it easy. He pays the printing bill. He's not that bad.
Hofstad,
I'll get the printer on this.
how about asking Stockman to back us? Then we could really put out a paper.
What could he do for money?
His father-in-law.
Keel? Since when has he got money?
I think he's loaded with it.
No. Why, as long as I've known him, he's worn the same overcoat, the same suit.
Yeah, and the same ring on his right hand. You ever get a look at that boulder?
No. I never...
All year he wears the diamond inside, but on New Year's Eve, he turns it around. Figure it out. When a man has no visible means of support, what is he living on? Money, right?
Hello?
Oh. Well, fancy seeing you here. Sit down. What?
I want to ask you a question.
What's that?
The English novel you wanted translated.
Aren't you going to do it?
I don't get this.
You don't get what?
This book is absolutely against everything you people believe.
Oh, it isn't that bad.
But Mr. Hofstad, it says that if you are good, there's a supernatural force that'll fix it so you end up happy. And if you're bad, that you'll be punished. Since when does the world work that way?
Yes, Petra, but this is a newspaper. People like to read that kind of thing. They buy the paper for that, and then we slip in our political stuff. A newspaper can't buck the public.
Really now?
No, wait a minute. I don't want you to go feeling that way. Here, take Dr. Stockman's 5 pages to the printer, will you?
Sure.
I just want you to understand something. I never even read that book. It was Billing's idea.
I thought he was a radical.
He is, but he's also
Newspaper man.
well, that too. But I was going to say that Billing is trying to get the job as secretary to the magistrate.
What?
People are people, Miss Stockman.
But the magistrate, he's been fighting everything progressive in this town for 30 years.
Let's not argue about it. I just don't want you to go out of here with the wrong idea of me. I guess you know that I happen to admire women like you. I've never had a chance to tell you, but I want you to know it. Do you mind?
No, I don't mind. Reading that book upset me. I really don't understand. Will you tell me why you're supporting my father?
What's the mystery? It's a matter of principle.
But a paper that'll print a book like this has no principle.
Why do you jump to such extremes? You're just like...
What?
I simply mean...
Like
that...
my father, you mean? You really have no use for him, do you?
No, wait a minute.
What's behind this? Are you just trying to hold my hand or something?
I happen to agree with your father, and that's why I'm printing his stuff.
You're trying to put something over, I think. Why are you in this?
Who are you accusing? Billing gave you that book, not me.
But you don't mind printing it, do you? What are you trying to do with my father? You have no principles. What are you up to here?
My God, Hofstad, Miss Stockman.
I don't think I have ever been so frightened in my life.
No, please, you mustn't think that I...
Where are you going? The mayor's out there.
The mayor?
He wants to speak to you. He came in the back door. He doesn't want to be seen.
What does he want? Oh, come in, Your Honor.
Thank you. It's clean. I always imagined this place would look dirty, but it's clean. Very nice, Mr. Osloskin.
Not at all, Your Honor. I mean to say, I always...
What can I do for you, Your Honor? Sit down?
I had a very annoying thing happen today, Mr. Hofstad.
That's so.
It seems my brother has written some sort of memorandum about the springs.
Really?
He mentioned it to you?
Yes, I think he said something about it.
Will you excuse me, gentlemen?
That's it, isn't it? You're going to print this?
I can't very well refuse a signed article. A signed article is the author's responsibility.
Mr. Osloskin, you're going to allow this?
I'm the publisher, not the editor, Your Honor. My policy is freedom for the editor.
You have a point. I can see that.
So if you don't mind, I'd like to continue with my work. I need to go to print.
Not at all, but this reconstruction of the springs.
I realize, Your Honor, it does mean tremendous sacrifices for the stockholders.
Don't upset yourself. The first thing a mayor learns is that the less wealthy can always be prevailed upon to demand a spirit of sacrifice for the public good.
I'm glad you see that.
Oh, yes. Especially when it's the wealthy who are going to do the sacrificing. What you don't seem to understand, Mr. Osloskin, is that so long as I am mayor, any changes in the springs are going to be paid for by a municipal loan.
A municipal? You mean you're going to tax the people for this?
Exactly.
But the springs are a private corporation.
The corporation built Kirsten Springs out of its own money. If the people want them changed, the people naturally must pay the bill. The corporation is in no position to put out any more money. It simply can't do it.
That's impossible. People will never stand for a new tax. Is this fact or your opinion?
It happens to be a fact. Plus, another fact. You'll forgive me about talking about facts in a newspaper office. But don't forget that the springs will take 2 years to make over. 2 years without income for your small businessmen, Mr. Osloskin. And a heavy new tax besides. And all because of this dream, this hallucination that we live in a pest hole.
It's based on science.
This is based on vindictiveness, on his hatred of authority and nothing else. This is a mad dream of a man who is trying to blow up our way of life. It has nothing to do with reform or science or anything else, but pure and simple destruction. And I intend to see to it that the people understand it exactly so.
My God. Maybe. You sure you want to support this thing, Hofstad?
Frankly, I never thought of it in quite that way. I mean, when you think of it psychologically, it's completely possible, of course, that the man is simply out. I don't know what to say, Your Honor. I'd hate to hurt the town in any way. I never imagined we'd have a new tax.
You should have imagined it because you're going to have to advocate for it. Unless, of course, liberal and radical newspaper readers enjoy high taxes. But you know that better than I. I happen to have here a brief story of the actual facts. It proves that with a little care, nobody need be harmed at all by the water. Of course, in time, we'd have to make a few minor structural changes, and we'd pay for those.
May I see that?
I'd like you to study it, Mr. Hofstad, and see if you don't agree that...
Are you expecting the doctor?
He's here?
Yes, he's across the street.
I'd rather not run into him here. How can I...
Well, right this way, sir. Please, hurry up.
Hurry up.
Get him out of here right away.
Do something!
Any proofs yet?
Oh, no, you can't expect them for some time.
All right. Well, you mind if I wait?
No sense in that, Doctor. It'll be quite a while yet.
Oh, bear with me, Hofstad. I just cannot wait to see this in print.
We're pretty busy, Doctor, so...
Let me hold you up. That's the way to be. Busy, busy. We're going to make this town shine like a jewel. Just one thing.
Couldn't we talk some other time? We're very,
2 words. I'm just walking down the street now. I look at the people, the stores, driving the wagons, and suddenly I was touched, by their innocence. I mean, what I'm driving at is when this editorial, this letter breaks, they're liable to start making a saint out of me or something. And it's like, I want you to promise me you're not going to try to get up any kind of a dinner for me or anything.
Oh, and Doctor, there's no use concealing.
I knew it. Look, I'm simply not going to attend a dinner in my honor.
Doctor, I think it's time we...
Oh, I thought so. Thomas, I want you home. Now come, I want you to talk to Petra.
What happened? What are you doing here?
Something wrong, Mrs. Stockman.
Dr. Stockman is the father of 3 children.
Now look, dear, everybody knows that. What's this?
Nobody would believe it from the way you're dragging us into this disaster.
What disaster?
He treated you like a son, and now you make a fool of him.
I'm not making a fool out of him.
Catherine, how can you accuse?
He'll lose his job at the Springs. Do you realize that? You print that article and they'll grind him up like a piece of flesh.
Catherine, you are embarrassing me. I beg your pardon, gentlemen.
Hofstad, what are you up to?
Oh, I won't have you yelling at Hofstad, Catherine.
I want you home. This man is not your friend.
He is my friend. Any man who shares my risk is my friend. You simply don't understand. As soon as this breaks, everybody in town is going to come out in the streets and drive that gang of... What's this? Well, Peter, poisoning the water is not enough. Now you're working on the press.
My hat, please, and my cane.
The people haven't spoken yet. And I have the people because I have the truth, my friends.
Doctor, we're not scientists. We can't judge whether your article is really true.
Well, then print it under my name. Let me defend it.
I'm not printing it. I'm not going to sacrifice this newspaper. When the whole story gets out, the public is not going to stand for any changes in the Springs.
His Honor just told us, Doctor. You see, there will be a new tax.
Oh, now I see. That's why you're not scientists suddenly and can't decide if I'm telling the truth. Well, so.
Don't take that attitude. The point is...
The point is going to fly through this town like an arrow. And I'm going to fire it. Now, will you print the article as a pamphlet and I'll pay for it?
I'm not going to ruin this paper and this town, Doctor, for the sake of your family.
You just leave his family out of this, Mr. Aslotkin. God help me. I think you people are horrible.
Pay my article, if you don't mind.
Doctor, you won't get it printed in this town.
Can't you forget? Can't you see now that everybody is against
Your
you?
Honor, I can't forget it, and I'll never forget it as long as you live. And I'm going to call a mass meeting, and I'm going to...
And who is going to rent you a hall?
And I'm going to take a drum, and I'm going to go from street to street proclaiming that the Springs are foul and poisonous, and it's rotting and poison is rotting the body politic.
And I believe you really are that mad.
Mad? Yes, my brother, you haven't even heard me raise my voice yet. Catherine!
Well. Sometimes brothers get along and sometimes they don't. In this instance, it might be a bit more than sibling rivalry. Well, join us tomorrow night, same time, 7:30 p.m. And the link for the live stream tomorrow night at 7:30 is in the email you received. We'll all see how these folks come to terms with their differences of opinion. Will they listen and learn? Maybe. One never knows till you know.
I want to give a huge, huge virtual applause to all these brilliant and gorgeous actors, all of whom have donated their time and their efforts and their talents to this reading, and also to our captain, Quentin, who is holding the whole technical thing together. If you want to donate to family and you didn't receive an email from Voice Theater, just go to voicetheater.org and then go to support us, and you'll find the PayPal link, or you can scroll down, as I said earlier, to this description below your video right now. Everyone, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow night for episode 2. The link for tomorrow night is in the email you received. Thank you all, and good night.